Hi Cougars, this is the next video for Chapter 3, Teacher Notes. I'm just picking up where I left off on the last one. So Section 3.6 is on specific heat. There's a definition for that. Read and understand that definition. And then there's this new term, delta, which is a triangle. It's a Greek letter D, and it means change. So anytime you see this triangle, know that it means delta and know that it means change. And here is the formula you use in this section. It's heat equals mass times temperature change times specific heat. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of discrepancy between your textbook and Mastering Chemistry. Most often you will see in your textbook, you will see heat as heat, just the word heat. In Mastering Chemistry, you'll see a lowercase q. Like I would have a lowercase m for mass. So down here you see the formula with variables. You see heat equals m, which is mass, times delta T, which is change in temperature, times specific heat. And most of the time the question for a problem involving specific heat is asking you to solve for either heat, mass, or specific heat. And usually you're going to be two variables short, meaning you can look up the specific heat of your substance. Either it'll be given in the question or there will be a table you can pull that information from. And then the other thing is that for delta T, just remember that it means change. And the way you calculate that value is the final temperature minus the initial temperature. That is your delta T, or change in temperature. And this is just a formula. You're going to use it so much it'll get stuck in your head. But solve for any of these variables in the heat equation, you might have to look up specific heat in a table. And one other thing I wanted to point out, the outline in Blackboard that is there that you see, the formula there is listed Q equals M, I think C delta T. C is the variable used for specific heat, but your book doesn't use that. So I just wanted to be consistent with the book because that's the information that you have. So my notes match the book, but you will also see it's written other ways. All right, and changes of state. Most of this is probably review, but you see melting, freezing. Sublimation is when a solid goes directly to a gas. Deposition, gas goes directly to a solid. The way I remember the difference between those two things, you go to the bank, you make a deposit, you leave something there. Deposit, deposition, gas turns into a solid, something is left there. And then evaporation, condensation, and then melting point, boiling point. Those are two other terms that you're going to see a lot in this section. Those are abbreviated MP and BP. Heat of fusion, heat of vaporization, and boiling. One thing I want to point out is that evaporation and boiling are often used interchangeably. Evaporation is the actual water molecules turning from liquid to gas, and boiling is the bubbling of the water. I just wanted to make that clear. All right, and then we're still in this same section, 3.7. There are two formulas that you'll see, and that's heat equals mass times heat of vaporization, and heat equals mass times heat of fusion. And you just have to know when to use each formula. So if you're calculating either condensation or vaporization, you're going to use heat of vaporization. If you're calculating melting or freezing, you're going to use heat of fusion. And heat of vaporization and heat of fusion are both constants. I don't care if you remember these or memorize these or not, but they are there for you, and you see the different units. All right, and then there will be one more video. I will be right back.